morning and welcome. We are so glad you're here. Whether you're joining us here in person or online, we would like to get to know you and invite you to become an active participant in our faith community. To learn more, please stop by the welcome table in the foyer or fill out a visitor form on our website at www.unitytemple.org. Today, after service, we're having a celebration potluck, and we hope you can attend. And don't worry, if you didn't bring something, there'll be plenty of food. We hope to see you there, and we hope you enjoy the service.
Good morning. My name is Aisha Ellis. My pronouns are she, her, and I wanted to say Happy Pride Month to everybody. And please, when you go to the potluck after this, please use your pronouns when you meet people in lieu of supporting all our non-binary, gender fluid friends, etc. And you can also change and put your pronouns in your email signature, on your name tag, or anywhere else, so that we can show support in the inherent worth and dignity of all our friends. So happy Pride Month. It's my pleasure to welcome you this morning. If you're here for the first time, we would like to thank you for joining us. We look forward to getting to know you. I forgot about this. We invite everyone in the sanctuary to join us in person after the service for our potluck and fellowship. It will follow immediately. There's also an online Zoom community that happens right after the service, and those friends can join us through that. The link can be found in the e-beacon, or you can email tlewis@unitytemple.org to request a link on Saturday. We appreciate everyone wearing a mask over their nose and mouth during the service to protect each other. If you find yourself needing a break from your mask, you can step outside and get some fresh air. Each week, we remind ourselves of our congregation's core values: connection, transformation, justice, and acceptance. Our mission is to embody these core values in our daily lives by welcoming all, inspiring compassion, nurturing wonder, and serving community. Inspiring compassion means we cultivate caring communities for one another in this congregation. We bear witness to love and pain in the world and respond individually, collectively, and by serving each other with acts of compassion. We are so glad that you have joined us today. We hope that you find the service inspiring and meaningful. I invite you now to take a moment and greet each other in the sanctuary.
You all are so used to Reverend Emily standing up here to say the chalice lighting words, but it's good to see you all today. Our chalice lighter today is a new resident of Oak Park, my spouse, John Cooley. One week ago today, John reunited our dog Blossom with two other fur babies, our cats Samwise and Sandy. Meanwhile, our human babies are young adults that are in various stages of flying the coop. John has been a Unitarian Universalist for 27 years and enjoys taking African drumming classes. We invite you to light your chalice along with us. We are Unitarian Universalists. This is the church of the open minds, the loving hearts, and the helping hands. We take care of the planet Earth and each other. Thank you. Thank you. Our call to worship this morning is from George Odell. We need one another when we mourn and would be comforted. We need one another when we are in trouble and afraid. We need one another when we are in despair, in temptation, and need to be recalled to our best selves again. We need one another when we would accomplish some great purpose and cannot do it alone. We need one another in the hour of success when we look for someone to share our triumphs. We need one another in the hour of defeat, when, with encouragement, we might endure and try again. We need one another when we have come to die and would have gentle hands prepare us for the journey. All our lives, we are in need, and others are in need of us. Whoever you are, wherever you are on your life's journey, and wherever you are in the world, come, let us worship together. And I invite you to rise in body or in spirit for Song 323 in Singing the Living Tradition, Break Not the Circle.
Break not the circle of enabling love, where people grow forgiven and forgiving. Break not that circle, make it wider still, till it includes embraces all the living. Come wonder at this love that comes to life, where words of freedom are with humor Join them, the movement of a love that frees, till people of whatever race or nation will truly be themselves, stand on their feet, see eye to eye with laughter and elation.
Please join us in the words of our covenant. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve unity and fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God.
Holding each other is a time to pause, to share, and to reflect on the moments that have especially touched our lives and moved our spirit throughout the past week. We companion one another with compassion. We sit with one another in times of joy and sorrow. We need one another. To share something that has touched your life, please email pastoralassociates@unitytemple.org by Friday evening of each week. You may also share something in the Zoom presentation of this service during the service as well. The following was shared with us this week. Molly Cloudon's mom, Virginia McCartney, died last week at the age of 101 after contracting COVID. She will be greatly missed. Virginia will be buried next to her husband in Burlington, Iowa this weekend. Molly greatly appreciates all the care and concern from her UT family. Violence, poverty, and injustice impacts the lives of many people inside our community and throughout the world. We hold in our hearts all victims, families, communities, countries, and perpetrators whose lives are impacted and so often scarred by violence and injustice. May we all move towards peace in every step we take. Let us hold in our hearts all joys and sorrows shared, and let us be mindful of those that remain unspoken. Be an opening for listening and sharing throughout the days and the weeks ahead. Adapted from Reverend Colleen Vahey's Faith in Action communication. So much of our world is both heartbreaking and joy-filled. There's so much to mourn and to celebrate in these times and all times. One of the many gifts of being part of our congregation is that we accompany one another through all of life's joys and sorrows, through all the mourning and celebration, and hopefully we learn and grow and are transformed by that journey. We are grateful to all in our community and to our partners for the many ways you help us bend the moral arc of the universe towards justice and peace. So much more is accomplished in cooperation and community than could ever be done alone.
invite young people or little people or people who just feel like a change of scenery to come forward and sit up here, but I do want you to be able to see the screen because we're gonna have pictures on the screen. All right. We will give a minute. Good morning. Oh, nice unicorn shirt. I like it. You are welcome. I think other people will be joining you. Here they come. All right. There we go. All right, so can you guys see the screen okay? Excellent. All right. Well, and this is a question for you, but also for all of us. So, why do we come to church? Why do you come to church? Yeah. To think about holy thoughts in God. That's a good one. Thank you. What about you? For religious education and coffee hour? Absolutely. Absolutely. Why do you all come to church? To learn. Community, right? To see friends. Do any of you come to church to see your friends? No? Coffee hour. Coffee hour is the winner. Excellent. Well, one reason to come to church is to see people you know, to see friends and whoever said community, right? Another is to do fun stuff together in your religious education classrooms, maybe to learn something sometimes. And I want to tell you about a fun thing that happened here at Unity Temple just 3 years ago. And most of you, I think, are a little too young to have participated, but some of you might have. 3 years ago, the kids here at Unity Temple created a beautiful, large flower mandala. Do you know what a mandala is? There's a picture of a mandala up on our screen there. And if you're at home or online, there should be a picture of a mandala on your screen too. A mandala is a circular design that has repeating colors and shapes and patterns that all come out from the center. They can be used as a form of meditation. It's pretty, right? I agree. And in some religious practices and cultures, they have special spiritual significance. Mandalas can be made of all sorts of things like sand or other things from nature. We can even color them on coloring pages. I see some of you like to draw and color. One of my favorite things to do when I relax is to color mandalas. And here is a mandala that I colored. I like to use markers personally. Some people use crayons or pencils, but I find it very relaxing. Yes?
At my grandparents' house, I colored mandalas.
You colored mandalas at your grandparents' house. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, isn't it? Well, the mandala that all of y'all created here at Unity Temple 3 years ago, the picture is going to come up, was made of bits of nature. It was made of pieces of flower, right? It was flower petals and leaves. Now, there are a lot of fun things about creating a mandala together. One thing is that everyone can do a little something, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It's really relaxing, and it can help us feel connected together. And you get to see that it starts to come together with everyone contributing. See how everyone's helping? When we create a mandala together, we also learn about creativity and about togetherness and about belonging and about sharing and about what to do if we make a mistake. And we create something beautiful together. Yeah, doesn't that look amazing? That's the final mandala that was created here at Unity Temple 3 years ago. In the end, when they're done, some mandalas are destroyed. We might take a picture of them so we can remember them, but some of them are destroyed as a reminder that everything changes and that nothing is forever. And at the end of the workshop here at Unity Temple, the mandala was released into nature. I don't have a picture of that, but I like to think it looked something like how a dandelion blows in the wind with all those flower petals going out. Did any of you, anyone here in the room or online, did any of you help create that mandala 3 years ago? I see some hands. Excellent. Anyone else? It looks pretty fun, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Can you tell me, what do you remember about making the mandala? Anything? No? I bet it was a lot of fun, though. Well, thank you all for joining me and for looking at the pictures of the mandala. Someday, perhaps, we'll get a chance to make one together again, because they can teach us about working together to create something beautiful. Yes, you have a question?
I could have done it, but I wasn't here.
You could have done it, but you weren't here. That happens sometimes. We miss a Sunday and we miss out on all the fun, which is why we should come regularly. I now invite you to go to the Activities in Unity House as the congregation sings our song for the children. And I think you guys will be doing some gardening today, so have fun.
Gardening.
Yep.
Good morning, everybody. In celebration of connection, today's music comes from the opera Future Perfect, which premieres this month in the heart of Austin, Oak Park's adjoining neighborhood. Future Perfect was co-created with 1,300 Chicago area youths, including our own, in a series of workshops which examined the themes of separateness, interconnectedness, and transcendence from a variety of lenses. Facilitated by a community of musicians, poets, and artists, the workshops yielded many of the opera's lyrics, dance numbers, and costumes. Future Perfect tells the adventures of Mironette, a curious youth who leaves a forbidding society to go towards a future she wants to see. Along her travels, she learns 6 lessons: imagination, deep listening, vulnerability, humor, mysticism, and lastly, conflict and resolution leading to love. But it's not that simple. Quantum entanglement states that once our particles are connected, they can never exist independently of the other particle. So as Mironette absorbs her lessons, she also reflects them back with her own special uniqueness. The lessons are now entangled and they evolve. Just a bit about the selections from Future Perfect you are experiencing today. In the imaginative world, butterflies become flutterbys. In our opening music played by Peter Storms, flutterbys emerge from pearlescent chrysalises to dry their wings in the morning sun. They do their first dance. The inspiration for this moment comes from a workshop Bellissima Opera and Juliana Engel Storms did with our RE students in 2018. Our young people learned about the transformative process of caterpillar to butterfly. They drew pictures of magical butterflies and embedded them with attributes they would like to be formed during their period in the chrysalis, like picking up garbage or reducing climate change. They put their wish list into a special mailbox. And later, we created a large butterfly representing all of these attributes. In our special music up next, played by my dear friend Tim Pale, is the aria Red is a Trick, sung by the character of Flana. Its text came out of workshops involving colors, how these students experienced colors particularly the color red, has a lesson for all of us. Those in safe communities saw red as a positive color, roses and hearts, but those in communities, other communities, saw red as blood and shootings. In this excerpt from Red, we present the darker side of this color, but then our now embodied Mironette presents us with a vision of hope. In Mironette's Dream, which will be played after the sermon, it's another dance number from the opera, and this came out of the workshop that Reverend Ukuli talked about with the mandala in 2019. Those youths learned about constructing a symmetrical object of beauty and as a meditative exercise and being part of a group. They also learned about impermanence. The closing music today will be The Universe Sings, sung by the character Rosetta, a visually impaired woman with extraordinary hearing. The incredible text for this aria was written in 10 minutes without edit by a 16-year-old Chicago high school student in response to the writing prompt, if the universe could sing, what would it sound like? Being connected to community is listening to each other and learning from each other. From the process of its creation to the message it embodies, Future Perfect endeavors to demonstrate the beauty and the blessings that occur when we are in community and the unexpected and magical moments that happen between us. We are all quantumly entangled.
I'm afraid to walk
Thank you, Tim and Christine, and for the three musicians bringing this music to us today. Each year, during the General Assembly of the Unitarian Universalist Association, also called GA, there is a WARE lecture, W-A-R-E lecture, in which the president of the UUA chooses a lecturer whom they believe will be able to speak to UUs in a particularly relevant way at that moment in time. This year, in just a few weeks, on Saturday, June 25th at 6 p.m. Central Time, in Portland, Oregon, and online for people who have registered, the WARE lecturer will be Ibram X. Kendi, author of 5 straight #1 New York Times bestsellers, including How to Be an Anti-Racist and the National Book Award-winning Stamped from the Beginning, A Definitive History of Racist Ideas in America. I remember being at my first General Assembly in Rochester, New York, in 1998. John and I were there with a bunch of teenagers as youth group advisors. The WARE lecturer that year was Amitai Etzioni, who's the founder of a movement called communitarianism, which is centered on the communal definition of good. Communitarianism stresses the role of community in social and political life and in our institutions. It rose in response to libertarianism and to some forms of contemporary liberalism, which center on liberty and individual rights. The overriding philosophy of communitarianism is based upon the belief that a person's social identity and personality are largely molded by community relationships, and with a smaller degree of development being placed on individualism. Etzioni says the idea is that we are not individual freestanding agents embodied only with rights for rugged individuals, but that we are members of communities. We are social animals, and that in order to flourish, we need each other. The me needs the we to be, he says. What Etzioni talked about at that WARE lecture so many years ago was challenging to Unitarian Universalists. We who so often stress the role of the individual and who sometimes overlook how the individual is formed by and shaped by the communities in which we live and work and move. We who sometimes stress our individual rights and who, as we try to create a democratic space where all voices might be heard, sometimes err in thinking that my voice matters more than anyone else, and that if I talk just a little bit louder or repeat myself one more time, people will inevitably agree with my very rational opinion based on my experience. We UUs sometimes fall into the trap of thinking the we needs the me instead of the me needing the we. Listening to Etzioni in 1998 helped me see our communities of faith as mandalas, where we bring our whole selves to create something beautiful, something meaningful, and provide space for individual and communal transformation together. The new opera, Future Perfect, which Christine talked about a few moments ago and from which our music today is featured, provides an example of how important community is. The workshops brought together local youths, examining themes of separateness and interconnectedness and transcendence from a variety of lenses. And out of that, something beautiful, meaningful, and transformational was created. Not just the resulting opera, but in the workshops themselves, where the youth were able to share deeply of their own experiences and have what they shared be held lovingly in community. And they learned from each other, like the story behind red is the trick, and how red means different things depending on the communities in which we were formed. Beloveds, we have had a hard few weeks. In the last month, it has felt impossible to keep up with all the bad news. In a June 2nd plea to the legislative branch to act on gun violence, President Joe Biden said, "Since Uvalde, just over a week ago, there have been 20 other mass shootings in America." And according to the Gun Violence Archive website, as of yesterday, there had been 20 more since Biden's plea on June 2nd. 40 mass shootings since Uvalde. Beyond the devastation and tragedy themselves, mass shootings are an affront to community. They are intentional acts of destruction of the communities we humans create and find solace in. Today is the 6th anniversary of the Pulse nightclub shooting in Orlando, Florida, in which 49 people were killed and 53 more were wounded, one of the worst mass shootings in our lifetimes. Pulse was a gay club that hosted themed performances each night and had a monthly program featuring educational content geared toward the LGBT community. Pride Month in June was particularly active at the club. Writing in Vanity Fair a few days after the Pulse shooting, journalist Dave Cullen wrote, "If you think that's just a club that happens to be gay, you may well have been in one, but it's highly unlikely you've come out in one. This is a place, for most of us gay guys, where we go to quit pretending." Pulse was a center of refuge for the LGBT community in and around Orlando. It saved lives. It was a place where people could bring their whole selves, could quit pretending. The mass shooting, as they do, took lives, but it also shook the LGBT community far and wide. Community matters. Community matters. As social creatures, we human beings seek out and we create community. Communities support us. They help us not feel so alone. And at their best, they give us a place where we can bring our whole selves and be told that we are worthy and that we are lovable and that we are loved, and so is everyone else. We need places of community, places where we can be ourselves, places outside of work and home where we can be together, create something together that is so much more meaningful and transformative than what we can do as individuals. Here at Unity Temple, our theme for June is celebrating blessings. And I want to take just a moment to dig deeper into 3 ways that community is a blessing to us. First, when we come together in community, we have the opportunity to create something beautiful, create something larger than ourselves, a place where we can welcome each other, where we can work together to inspire an opera or create a mandala or simply be our whole true selves. Our religious communities in particular can give us a place where people have the opportunity to grow forgiven and forgiving. At its best, community blesses us with the chance to create something beautiful together. Second, when we come together in community, we can create something meaningful. It can be a place where we find refuge from societal oppression, particularly for people who have identities that are often marginalized. And community is a place where we can collectively grieve and mourn, a place that will hold us when we are in need, and where we can hold others when they are. As Unitarian Universalists, our faith communities give us a place where we can accept one another and encourage each other's spiritual growth, while we engage in a free and responsible search for truth and meaning, and we figure out together how to live our collective values in the world. At its best, community blesses us with the possibility to create something meaningful together. And third, community can be transformational. Community can change us. In community, we might be confronted with how our different life experiences have shaped us in ways that might be in conflict with each other, and we can grow and learn from the experience with one another. We can challenge each other. We can love each other into new ways of being. And being welcomed and loved and accepted in community can change how we interact in the larger world. We may become bolder and braver when we know that we are not alone. At its best, the transformation that comes when we are in community can be deeply healing. In fact, clinicians are increasingly aware that the most effective way of preventing post-terror trauma isn't some set of therapeutic techniques, but the power of community to help people feel connected and supported. All the therapy in the world is not as powerful as knowing you're a part of a community of support. And when it comes to faith communities, well, studies have shown repeatedly that people who participate in faith communities live longer and are happier. Beloveds, these are hard times, and we need each other. We need communities where we can go to be comforted, communities where we can be accepted for who we are, even with all our messiness. We need communities where we can build something beautiful together, engage in something meaningful, and as a result, be transformed. Communities like this congregation, where you boldly declare that you strive to welcome all, inspire compassion, nurture wonder, and serve your larger community. When I first arrived here as your interim minister at the end of last summer, I met with many of you individually or in groups, and I asked you what brought you to Unity Temple and what keeps you here. Well, you came for many different reasons. Over and over again, I heard that the reason you stay is community. That here at Unity Temple you make friends, that you enjoy the challenge to grow and be better and to articulate and live your values. I heard that you are proud of the work of this congregation, that it does in the larger community, and you appreciate the opportunity to participate in that work. Here at Unity Temple Unitarian Universalist Congregation, you are working to be the community you seek, the community so many people need. The beauty of this building doesn't hold a candle to the beauty of the community you are working to build. It is often messy. It is often hard. We are often sandpaper against each other. But this is meaningful work, and never doubt that it is transformational or that it saves lives, because it does. This is the work that we do together, where we understand that even though it may be messy, the me needs the we to be. And this, beloveds, is the blessing of community for us today. the blessing of this community. May it be so. May we make it so. Blessed be. Each week, we give our Sunday collection to an organization that aligns with our values. This week, our offering supports our own Unity Temple Unitarian Universalist Congregation Abundance Fund, providing financial assistance to members of our congregation and the wider community who are in financial distress. This is one of the blessings of being in community together, the blessing of being able to support each other and in our times of need, accept support from our religious community. You may donate by placing cash or checks in the collection baskets that are being passed. If you're sitting in the back row of your section of pews, you'll find a basket stored under the pew, although I know some of you know what you're doing and it's already going. You can also give by sending a check to the Unity Temple office with Unity Temple Abundance Fund in the memo line, or by following the instructions that will be on your screen. Thank you in advance for your generous support, and may what you give bring you joy. All our lives, we are in need, and others are in need of us. And when we come together in community, particularly religious community, we have the opportunity to create something beautiful, something meaningful, something transformational. May we continually be about the work of building community and making the circle wider and wider still. In this way, may we be a blessing to each other. And for those of you here in person today, I hope you will join us in renewing and celebrating our community in a potluck that will be right after the service. You are welcome to join whether or not you have food. I am assured there is plenty of it, because that's what it means to be in community. I now invite you to join me in the words of our chalice extinguishing. Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again.
Every star is a note, every solar system a new scale, a different arrangement of the patterns. Beautiful patterns. The song is sometimes harmonious, painted in memories and nuclear fusion, earning 1,000 different colors, singing the song of birth of atoms, commingling and building something new for the first time, for the seventh, for the seventh. Sometimes the song is dissonant, all sharps and flats, picking out off key as a giant collapses into a speck. As the beautiful thousand implode into a pinpoint black hole, too dense to hold a toe.